Could you reconsider the contract terms?
If that's too difficult, you can just rescind our job offers.
Well, if that's how you feel, I'll go ahead and remove you from the new hire placement list. My name is Keiji Sato. I'm the president of Tokide, an in-house IT and security solutions company. I was holding an orientation session for new hires together with my executive secretary, Noah Morooka, when that concludes our explanation of the contract terms and job responsibilities.
Do you mind if I ask something?
I have something I'd like to ask as well. You're Isazu Tsuchida and Yoshiki Kuratsubo, correct? Go ahead. So, after we got our offers, we found out that you only have a middle school diploma. We feel like our academic backgrounds are a lot stronger. So we were wondering if you could give us better contract terms.
What?
I see.
If revising the terms is off the table, then you can rescind our offers. We're fine with that.
A business leader needs specialized knowledge, right? Honestly, we weren't sure this company would be working with the kind of cutting-edge technology we want to get our hands on. Well then, I suppose there's nothing I can do. I'll go ahead and remove you from the new hire placement list.
Wait, what?
Excuse me?
What's wrong? Didn't you just say rescinding your offers was fine? Keiji is one of the most skilled engineers around. And on top of running the company, he actively goes out into the field to put the expertise to use.
Wait, seriously? We also have a full lineup of cutting-edge technology that holds its own against any other security firm out there.
What?
Oh, and by the way, yes, circumstances led me to enter the workforce with only a middle school diploma. But I went on to pass my high school equivalency exam, graduated from a technical college, and then started this company. So I do consider myself an engineer with a solid depth of specialized knowledge.
What?
You applied to this company without even knowing that? And what's with the attitude toward our president?
Who are you?
My name is Kajino Yui. I'm a new hire too. And I really don't want to be lumped in with people who are this out of line.
Excuse me?
I think we may have jumped to conclusions a little too fast. I'm relieved to know there's real work here involving specialized knowledge and cutting-edge technology.
Me too!
I won't rescind your offers, but honestly, I have concerns about how well you'll fit in here. So I'd like to keep a close eye on things throughout the 6-month probationary period, before making any final decisions regarding your hiring. How about we add a clause to your contracts stating that completing your training requirements is a condition for being placed as full-time employees. Since you said rescinding your offers was fine, it would technically make sense to void everything and have you resign.
Since you made your intentions clear, we do have the option to treat this as a mutual rescission and terminate your employment agreements.
Well, we're sorry.
We'll make sure to show real results during the probationary period.
Then let us go with that.
Please put me on the same contract terms.
Thank you. I don't think it would be right for just one person to have different terms, so I'll do that.
Of course she had to make herself look good.
All right, Rindo, can I leave these 3 in your hands? You got it. I'm Rindo, head of sales. Nice to meet you. You 3 are officially part of the sales team now. Sounds like this year's new recruits have got some fire in them. I have high hopes for you guys, so don't let me down, okay?
Yes, sir.
A few weeks later. All right then, any questions so far? I'd like to know more about the high-value cutting-edge tech. If we can get clients to actually adopt it, that's where the big money is, right?
I want to do sales where we're really leading with specialized knowledge.
Interesting. What about you, Yui?
I think the answer isn't just to go with the best of everything across the board.
Oh?
I think we need to properly understand every piece of technology we offer. So let me take some time to digest everything before I ask my questions.
Yeah, sounds good. Yui just thinks so differently from us. It makes things really awkward.
How's everything going?
Pretty good. They should be ready to sit in on client meetings starting next week. Would it be okay if I asked you a question? Sure, go ahead. I think two-factor authentication should be mandatory for everyone, no exceptions. Making exceptions just sounds like letting employees off the hook, doesn't it? I'd say two-factor authentication should only be mandatory starting with accounts that have elevated privileges. Field terminals, shared terminals, and overnight batch processes. If you don't deliberately design exceptions for those, the whole system grinds to a halt. Exceptions aren't about cutting corners or giving people a pass. You make them exceptions specifically to keep things running, and then you protect them with a different layer of security.
Well then, I think every company should be using AI monitoring. If AI can flag anomalies, that means you can cut down on labor costs, right?
Well, first you have to ask, what counts as an anomaly? If AI monitoring isn't configured properly, it'll flag things like peak business hours as anomalies. The standard approach is to start by defining what normal looks like and setting an acceptable false positive rate. Then bring AI in at the end as a supplementary tool.
Oh, I see. No way. He can take our ideas and break them down this clearly and concisely in a way that actually makes sense.
I figured he'd fumble with something this technical.
You can break down the technology and anticipate the operational risks, all on the spot like that. I mean, wow. Our president is something else, isn't he? He really is. Honestly, that's exactly why I chose this company. I've always looked up to him. And now that you mention it, you did write that in your application.
What I just explained is pretty much entry-level stuff, you know. Yui, feel free to ask me anything, anytime.
Thank you so much.
Which means you all need to make sure you really understand the basics Keiichi's talking about. And put them into practice. Yes. So we can't even handle the basics yet.
I'll prove myself by getting results, no matter what.
A few weeks later, the 3 new hires were now being entrusted with contract renewals for existing clients. All 3 of you are getting your renewals done. Good. From here on, we're going to start landing major new contracts too. Just watch.
And it looks like we're pulling in more revenue than Yui. And since we've been pushing the cutting-edge tech at every renewal meeting, right?
Higher revenue is a good thing. That said, you two are hitting those meetings together as a pair, while Yui's out there handling everything on her own. I want to give credit for that too. I've noticed she's been asking senior staff and Keiichi a lot of questions too.
I think it's better to go cutting edge only where it actually makes sense. So I've been asking around and learning which combinations of systems work best together.
And that's translating directly into client satisfaction. Neither approach is wrong. What matters most is keeping the client's needs front and center.
Yes, sir.
Going forward, I'm planning to have all of you start working on new accounts too, so I'm counting on you. Rindo, Tokide is on the phone. Didn't Yoshiki and the others head over there this morning to adjust the security system? Apparently the system isn't working right. Everything's at a standstill, and they're saying they want us to revert the changes, and they're even thinking about canceling the contract. What?
But it was working fine when we tested it.
Rindo, can you head over there right away with Yoshiki and Isuzu? On it.
I'll send the contract documents as a PDF to your tablet, Rindo.
Great. All right, we're heading out. And so, with Rindo taking the lead, they moved in to handle the situation. Downgrading part of the system did the trick. Everything's running properly now.
Thank you for handling that so well.
Yoshiki, I heard you recommended a zero trust setup and company-wide two-factor authentication. Yes. I believe I mentioned that two-factor authentication should be mandatory starting with elevated privileges. This time, forcing it on every single person in every single system caused delays across the board. That was the root cause of this. You need to evaluate which permission levels actually warranted two-factor authentication, in line with Doki Doki's company policies. Right. On top of that, the AI monitoring kept triggering false positive alerts non-stop. The AI was just dropped in without any proper setup. Keiichi brought this up before too. Did you actually go through and define what normal looks like and set an acceptable false positive rate?
Oh, that was...
Wanting to bring in cutting-edge technology, I think that's a genuinely good thing to believe in. But if you can't take what you've been taught and apply it in the real world, that's not doing your job. What we do here is protect companies. That's the work we're in.
Understood.
We'll do better going forward. Noah, your documentation really saved us today. Thanks.
Not at all. I'm an executive secretary. It's my job to stay on top of everything.
Huh, fair enough. But really, I'm so glad we have you, Noah.
Oh, thank you.
God, and they're not even dating. Seriously. Oh right, for the new account coming in from Waku Waku, I was thinking it might be good for all 3 of the new hires to get some experience on it, as a learning opportunity. Good idea. Let's have them work through a few new accounts before then, to build up some experience. I hope those 2 come around. 5 months since the 3 joined the company. Around the time they were starting to get comfortable with new accounts. This one's a new account, Waku Waku. A major restaurant chain wants us to set up a security system for one of their new locations. I'm going to have Yoshiki's team and Kajino each put together their own proposals. The client mentioned that if this goes well, they'd like to roll it out across all their existing locations. So this could lead to a much bigger deal down the line. Give it everything you've got. We're the ones walking away with this contract, Yui.
We're going to put together the best possible proposal. A system built on the best cutting-edge technology out there.
Cutting edge is important, but what matters most is figuring out what Waku Waku actually needs.
Interesting. So that's the difference in how these 3 think. And so, the preparation began. But, should we go with this combination? Or actually, is this one better? What do you think, Isuzu?
Why not just have them go with the latest SaaS solution? No installation needed as long as they have internet, they can access it, and we don't have to worry about concurrent user limits.
With SaaS, it'd be a monthly or annual lease, so we could be looking at a long-term, high-value contract. And it would be easy to roll out to other locations too.
What should we do? Should we have Keiichi or Rindo take a look at the proposal?
No way. If we go running to them now, it's not really our work anymore, is it? Let's put together a perfect proposal, just the 2 of us.
You're right.
Oh, Keiichi, Noah. I was going through the requirements from Waku Waku and I have some questions.
Of course, go ahead.
I can talk now. Tell me what's on your mind.
Since this is just for the new location to start, I was thinking of planning this with a phased rollout in mind. In that case, I was also thinking about putting together a roadmap for eventually expanding it to all locations, under centralized management at headquarters. But
Yeah, I think that's a great idea. If you're rolling it out to all locations, what kinds of concerns do you think might come up?
I don't want to create extra burden for the individual locations, and the registers and payment systems can't go down. Oh, in that case, if we separate the store Wi-Fi from the POS network, we can keep the impact contained to a smaller area.
Looks like you've already found your answer.
Sure does.
Yes, thank you so much.
And so, after each team finished preparing, and following the presentations, Yui's proposal was selected. Congratulations! What stood out was that she had a vision for rolling it out to all locations gradually, starting with this one, and separating what the stores manage from what headquarters handles. So store managers only have to deal with a limited scope of operations. Great call.
Thank you so much.
But we put together a solid proposal. Top of the line SaaS, paired with device authentication using an MFA system. Rolling out SaaS company-wide from the start is the opposite of what Waku Waku asked for. And MFA? Smartphone-based authentication would require using personal devices, right? If shared terminals need to go through device authentication every single time, you'd have nothing but authentication requests and exception filings at every location. That's a recipe for chaos.
But that's...
It just wasn't the right fit for Waku Waku this time. I'm sure with other clients it will. I'm gonna go out and land a new contract. Just make sure you don't lose sight of what the client is actually looking for. Excuse me. And so, Yoshiki and Isuzu went out and landed a new contract with a factory called Jajan. But we just got a call that the entire production line at Jajan factory has come to a complete stop. What?
We set up an annual SaaS contract and a hardware lease. We confirmed everything with their sales manager, Nakata, and submitted a quote before moving forward with the installation.
But the formal purchase order hasn't come through yet, correct? Since everything was confirmed verbally, the order apparently hadn't been officially approved on Jajan's end yet.
Oh, well, that's true.
The contract we set up comes with a high fixed monthly cost, one that would eat significantly into Jajan Factory's profit margins. And apparently the staff on site aren't able to make full use of the equipment we lease them. Are you serious? We already sent a preliminary order to the vendor. You already did that much? Alright, I'll step in and handle this.
Would it be okay if I came along to observe and learn?
Sure, let's go. We're very sorry for the trouble this has caused. I didn't expect the president to come himself. The thing is, the factory being down is really putting us in a tough spot. Since no formal purchase order has been issued yet, the contract is void under our company's policy. I've also put a stop on the vendor order.
There will be no cancellation fees of any kind, and we'll restore everything to the way it was before the system was installed. So please, don't worry.
I appreciate that, truly. But that AI monitoring system that automatically detects factory irregularities, I actually thought that was really promising. But then it malfunctioned and shut things down.
The AI monitoring system. Oh, in that case,
Can you put something together, Yui?
since you have a lot of equipment where a shutdown could mean significant losses, what if, instead of triggering on confirmed anomalies, the system focused purely on detecting some things different from usual? We'd break alerts into 3 levels. First, a heads up, then a needs review, and finally, a human makes the call on whether to stop operations. Since it won't auto-stop on false positives, the line won't go down on its own.
That's actually possible?
With Tokiday's AI detection systems, absolutely.
That's fantastic. I'd love to move forward with implementing that part.
Great! We'll get started on that right away.
You've grown so much in less than 6 months, Yui.
She really has. She's becoming an outstanding sales rep who puts the client first, just like you, Keiji.
I can't wait to see what she does next. And so, we wrapped up the work at Jajan Factory, and Kojino took over as the account representative. Back at the office, we're coming up on the end of the 6-month probationary period. I think it's fair to say we've seen a significant gap in how much each of the 3 of you have grown. A gap? And it's not just your mindsets. Yui has earned real trust from clients and been handed major new accounts, while Yoshiki and Isuzu still haven't been able to close a new deal. That's a big difference.
The probationary contracts include a clause stating that completing the training requirements is a condition for full-time placement, as well as provisions for performance improvement plans and formal warnings.
Kojino learned from Rindo and the other senior staff, and developed the ability to do her job with a focus on what clients and the people in the field actually need most. Yoshiki and Isuzu, on the other hand, you've become so caught up in your commitment to cutting-edge technology and your drive to hit numbers that multiple issues arose from implementing systems that weren't suited to the clients, and you currently have no active accounts. Given all of this, Yui will move forward as a full-time employee, and Yoshiki and Isuzu's contracts will be terminated at the end of this month.
Terminated?
6 months is such an awkward time to be job hunting. Mid-year hiring might not even be.
That's not something the company is responsible for.
This was a decision made by senior leadership, myself included. We simply can't have salespeople who aren't able to follow the company's approach. On the day of that orientation, you said you thought your academic backgrounds were stronger, so you wanted better contract terms. But I believe what determines a person's value isn't whether they took the straight and narrow path through elite schools. It's how they've lived and what they've done. Yes, sir.
I can't believe it.
After that, Yoshiki and Isuzu's contracts were terminated. The two of them apparently managed to find new jobs, but they were struggling in environments where the competition was cutthroat and no one held back. Revision after revision. This proposal is never gonna get finished.
What is this document even supposed to mean? I want to ask someone, but everyone's so buried in their own work. There's no way to.
Eventually, they stopped being able to come into the office and started shutting themselves away at home. Meanwhile, back with us.
Rindo, I landed a new contract.
Nice work, Yui. That's what I'm talking about. Yui's really in her element, isn't she?
She is. So, does that mean she's caught your eye?
Well, Yui and Rindo seem to have something going on, don't they?
But what about you, Keiichi?
As for me, I want to spend more time with you, Noah. Both in and out of the office.
Yes.